you know. And then another preacher came, a few of them, to my house here in Las Vegas, and you're always going to get ripped off. Ripped off is part of Christianity. If you're not prepared for being ripped off, then stop playing the game of Christianity. You're always going to be taken advantage of because we're servants. Christ was taken advantage of. Paul was taken advantage of. You've got to be willing to take advantage because people are in different levels. And so I got these preachers at my house, and they're there for a week or two. And this one guy, you know, you've got your special food. You got your special chair. You got your special stuff. So this guy, he's heading for all my stuff and my goodies and never, ever asking me. Just going for it, you know. And so finally, after I observed this for quite a while, now I got the responsibility. He's a preacher. I got the responsibility to watch this guy, observe this guy, and try to help this guy. And so one day I took him aside and I told him, hey, look, you know, you see all this stuff around here? I know this one preacher friend of mine, there's some yard work and stuff. If he was staying at my house, man, he'd be cleaning this stuff up and he'd be doing this and that, and you haven't lifted a finger to do one thing, and I've asked you 6 different times to do the same thing. And I put a day or two in between each time, and those 6 times I asked you, not once have you done one thing I've asked you to do, but yet you're in there eating my food and doing all this stuff. In other words, I show hospitality, but I have a responsibility, you see, to that guy that's calling himself a Christian too. And I did it in a nice way, but I was extremely forceful, and the guy ends up crying, you see, because the point has to be made. Some of these people that get saved come from backgrounds in which they've never been trained right. They didn't have right parents. They've never had any right upbringing. They don't know what's ethically right or ethically wrong. If you don't tell them that when you go into a person's house and they're opening the house up for hospitality, you have a responsibility to those people. You have a responsibility to make sure you don't have their TV turned up too loud. You have a responsibility that you're not up too late at night or out at night and coming in at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when they're trying to get to sleep in their normal time. You have a certain responsibility when people extend the right hand of fellowship and hospitality. It's not just a one-way thing. And if it becomes a one-way thing, then we're forced to train these people and tell them straight up the way it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you've got if you're the kind of a Christian, where if somebody was from out of town and a Christian, they asked if they could stay at your house or something, and there's no way they could enter my house, there's no way they could sleep on my couch, I have no facility for them, you see, and you've been in Christianity a long time, I feel sorry for you. Tony, how many extra beds do you have in your house? Quite a number of them, and he's had guys on couches and everything else. And I've always had those kind of facilities at my places. Now, sometimes if you're in a house or a situation in your life to where you're in a small little confined place and you don't have the square footage, maybe that's something else. But if you've got the money and the resources, then you make them available. And I do have some friends that frankly don't feel comfortable making them available. So what do? They pay the motel for the guy. You see, I just went through to see a guy, and the guy, it wasn't convenient for the guy. So what's he do? He puts me up in this real nice hotel. And this is what is hospitality and caring for our brethren and caring and concern. This is the core of Christianity. It's not about us. It's the attitude of servitude for our fellow man. And that causes an imposition for us. And if you don't have an imposition in your personal life, and you haven't experienced an imposition in your personal life as a result of being a Christian, you're sorely lacking, because it's part of the package. Am I right?
Yes.
Thank you. And then what does it say here? Do not neglect showing hospitality to strangers, for by this some have entertained angels without knowing it.
That's cool.
It's more than cool. It's extraordinary that you've actually an angel. An angel is not a human. Now we do get infiltration very possibly by angels. Does anybody have a hat pin right here? Because if anybody does, I personally, I'd like to prick Greg's hand, because I've suspected he might be an infiltrated angel among our midst. You know, I don't know, but if I see the blood, I'll know he's real human.
I'm pretty sure, I can tell you I am.
You're human?
I'm guarantee you.
All right. Well, he's got a sweet smile and attitude like an angel, and I suspected he might be an infiltrator. But nonetheless, within this time,